Imagine the sound of a screen door slamming on a summer afternoon. That finality. Now imagine that sound happening inside your soul. That's what I'm going to talk about today. The moment a lifetime of, yes, ma'am, and, of course, dear, quietly, and without any fuss, turns into a, no more. For many of you, Sunday isn't a day of rest. It's a day of performance. An audition you gave decades ago and somehow never stopped auditioning for. The china, the linen, the expectations piled higher than the food on the platter you carry from a hot kitchen to a table full of people who forgot you have a seat of your own. My name is Evelyn, and for 38 years, my life was measured in Sunday dinners. Last week, I measured my freedom in a one-way ticket to the ocean. And I'd like to tell you how the weight of a lifetime finally became light enough to let go. It is a peculiar kind of arithmetic, this business of love and labor. You were never taught the formula. You simply inherit it from the women who came before you. You watch your mother, her hands always in water or dough, her smile sometimes reaching her eyes and sometimes not. You learn that to love is to do. To love is to provide, to mend, to smooth over, to fill bellies and warm feet and create a space so comfortable that the people within it barely notice the space at all. This is the ledger you are given. A blank book where you are the only one who makes entries. You spend a lifetime writing in it, believing that one day the balance will be shown to you, that the investment will mature. You believe your kindness is a seed, you believe your silence is a deposit, you believe your forgiveness is a bond that will yield a return of understanding. You stand at that stove Sunday after Sunday, year after year, and you pour into that pot a cup of patience, a tablespoon of hope, a pinch of a dream that maybe this time when they taste it they will taste the love that seasoned it. They will taste the care. They will look up from their plates and see not the food but the woman who made it. The transaction is silent. You offer your labor and you await a currency that was never agreed upon. You await a look, a touch, a word that says, I see you. I see the effort. I see the sacrifice. I see the woman behind the meal. That look, that word never comes. Instead you get a compliment on the crust. A comment on the seasoning. A request for more gravy. The transaction fails again and again, but you tell yourself the problem is your accounting. You must have miscalculated. You must give more. You must try a new recipe. You must be more patient. The love must be purer, the effort must be invisible. You become a ghost in the transaction, haunting your own life, hoping to be made solid by their acknowledgement. It never comes. You begin to understand the terrible truth. You have been trading in a currency they do not recognize. You have been offering gold and they have been accepting air. Your love, your labor, your silent endurance, these were never part of the bargain they understood. In their ledger you were simply doing what you were supposed to do. Your love was not an investment to them. It was a fact of the landscape. As expected as the sunrise. As unremarkable as the floor beneath their feet. They walked on it, they relied on it, they never once considered its foundation. And so you pour and you pour and you pour. You pour into children who grow and leave and call on Sundays their love real but distant, a separate account. You pour into a husband who sits at the head of the table, a man who has forgotten the language of your heart, who speaks only in the practicalities of daily life. You pour into a family that encircles him, that feeds from your hands but never feeds your spirit. You are the well and everyone has a bucket. You watch the water line drop lower and lower. You hear the echo in the cavern of your own chest. Still you tell yourself a good well does not complain. A good well does not ask for rain. A good well just is. Until one day you lower your own bucket and it scrapes against dry stone. It comes up empty. The transaction is complete. You have given everything, and what you have received are receipts for things you never wanted. A house full of furniture. A table full of china. A life full of routines. You are surrounded by the evidence of your giving and you are empty. You stand in your kitchen on a perfectly ordinary Wednesday and you feel it. Not sadness. Not anger. A void. A chilling balance of zero. The arithmetic is finally clear. You have been paying for your own confinement. You have been purchasing your own silence. You have been funding a life where you are the primary shareholder of loneliness. The love was not a transaction because a transaction requires two willing parties. It was a donation, an endless charitable gift to an institution that never bore your name. And the moment you see that is the moment the giving stops. Not with a slam but with a sigh. The internal ledger closes. The accounts are settled at a devastating loss. You are bankrupt. And in that bankruptcy there is a terrible freedom. There is nothing left to pay. There is nothing left to lose. The transaction is over. You are finally free to walk away from the table. They tell you to pick your battles. That is good advice. Wise advice. But no one ever warns you about the war you wage against yourself in all that silence you choose. The quiet becomes a country you live in. You learn its customs. You speak its muted language. You become a citizen of the unspoken. At first it feels like strength. Like nobility. You are the one who keeps the peace. You are the one who swallows the sharp word, who smiles through the slight, who turns the other cheek. So often you feel you are in a constant gentle spin. Your voice becomes a tool for agreement. For smoothing. For saying the thing that will cause the least ripple in the room. You say I'm fine when you are crumbling. You say it doesn't matter when it is the only thing that matters. You say I understand when you are utterly lost. Your voice becomes a traitor to your own heart. It is a strange thing to hear your own voice betray you. To feel the words leave your lips like little diplomats negotiating your surrender. They sound so reasonable, so kind, so mature, and each one is a stone placed upon your chest. The weight is incremental. You do not feel the first stone or the fifth. But one day you try to take a deep breath and you cannot. The silence has built a wall around your soul. It is not the silence of an empty room. That silence can be peaceful. This is the silence of a crowded room where your truth is screaming inside you and you have trained it to sit quietly in a corner with its hands folded. It is the silence of a dinner table where his mother makes a comment about your cooking being good but not quite like hers and you say thank you Thelma, I'd love your recipe. It is the silence of your husband forgetting your anniversary again and you saying it's just a date, we have each other. It is the silence of your own dreams being deferred year after year and you whispering to yourself maybe next year. The silence grows teeth. It feeds on your disappointments. It grows fat on your compromises. It becomes a living thing in the house with you, a third presence in your marriage. It sleeps between you in the bed. It sits in your chair at the kitchen table. It is the most loyal companion you have because it never leaves. And you agree to it. That is the deepest cut. You agree. You consent to your own erasure. You sign the treaty with your own hand. You tell yourself this is love. This is what love does. It is quiet. It is patient. It does not insist on its own way. You have twisted scripture into a shackle. You have mistaken martyrdom for virtue. The sound of your own soul screaming becomes background noise. A static in your veins. You learn to ignore its pitch. You turn the volume down on your own life. You speak in pleasantries and platitudes. Your conversations become weather reports. All surface, no depth. Because depth is dangerous. Depth might cause a wave. And you have dedicated your life to being a flat calm sea. But a soul cannot live underwater forever. It must come up for air. It will send up bubbles. Little gasps of truth that escape before you can stop them. A sudden tear in the grocery store for no reason. A flash of anger over a misplaced sock that burns white hot and then shames you. A dream so vivid of a different life you wake with an ache that lasts for days. These are the screams in their infancy. You swallow them back down. You silence them with busyness, with another load of laundry, with another Sunday dinner. You become a curator of your own museum of quiet hurts. You dust them every day. You arrange them neatly on shelves in your mind. You give them names. The time he didn't defend you. The time they forgot your birthday. The time your opinion was not sought. You walk through this museum daily and you nod at the exhibits. You have accepted them as permanent. The silence becomes a language you are so fluent in you forget others speak something else. You forget the sound of your own laughter, your real laughter, not the polite tinkle you use at parties. You forget the feeling of saying a hard truth and having the world not end. You have agreed that the world will end. You have agreed that your truth is too costly, too disruptive, too heavy to be borne by anyone else. So you bear it alone. In silence. And the agreement feels like a duty. A sacred vow you never actually took. The silence is not just in your voice. It is in your body. It is in the way you stop reaching for his hand. It is in the way you make yourself small in a chair. It is in the way you dress, not to be seen but not to be remarked upon either. It is in the meals you cook that you no longer enjoy. You are in a constant state of agreement with a life that is leeching your color away. You were becoming a sepia photograph of yourself. Then one day something happens. A small thing. He leaves his coffee cup on the table for the 1000th time. Or his mother calls and the sound of her voice on the answering machine makes your jaw clench. Or you look at your calendar and see a future of blank days stretching out like an endless empty road. And the scream that has been circling inside you for decades finds a crack. It does not come out as a scream. It comes out as a sentence. A quiet simple sentence. I cannot do this anymore. The words hang in the air. They seem to come from someone else. They are not diplomatic. They are not smoothing. They are a stone dropped into your flat calm sea. The ripples are terrifying, but the sound of your own voice finally telling the truth is the most beautiful sound you have ever heard. It is cracked and rusty and frail, but it is yours. It is the sound of the agreement breaking. The silence shatters like glass, and in the wake of it you can finally breathe. You realize the silence was not holding you together. It was holding you down. Your agreement was not peace. It was a life sentence you were serving day by day. And when you stop agreeing, when your voice says that one true thing, the world does not end. The walls do not fall. Instead a door opens. A door that was always there, hidden behind the tapestry of your quiet compliance. The scream was not a sound of destruction. It was a key turning in a lock. It was your own voice coming home. You think you can outrun it. You think you can bury it under the dailiness of things, under the grocery lists and the doctor appointments and the endless folding of laundry that is never quite finished. You think your heart is a loyal soldier, that it will bear the weight you assign it. It will march on through tiredness, through disappointment, through a low steady hum of sorrow. You believe your mind is the captain. Your body is just the vessel. It will go where you steer it. It will perform the tasks. It will not complain. This is the great lie of a woman's life. That the body is separate. That the spirit can be neglected and the flesh will not testify. They call it a silent heart attack. The doctors say it is a warning. They show you the lines on a graph, the little blips and dips that tell a story your mouth never would. They speak of blockages, of stress, of hidden pressures. They look at you over their charts and ask about your diet, your exercise, your sleep. They do not ask about the quiet rooms. They do not ask about the weight of unshed tears. They do not measure the pressure of a smile held in place for 40 years. The heart attack was not silent. You just were not listening. Your body had been whispering for decades. It sent its messages in code. The ache in your shoulders at the end of the day, that was not from lifting heavy things but from carrying the unspoken. The tiredness that sleep could not touch, that was the fatigue of a soul performing a constant pantomime of contentment. The headaches that arrived on Sunday evenings, as regular as the clock, a dull throbbing pressure that was the sound of your own will being suppressed. The stiff hands in the morning that were not arthritis but the physical resistance to another day of grasping at a life that kept slipping through your fingers. Your body was a faithful scribe. It recorded every slight, every forgotten promise, every time you bit your tongue until you tasted copper. It etched them into your muscles, your joints, the very rhythm of your pulse. You mistook its language for aging. You called it getting older. You said it was to be expected. But it was grief. It was concrete, undeniable grief made flesh. The heart is not just a pump. It is the keeper of time. It is the drum you march to. And when the music of your life is a dirge of duty, when the rhythm is set by other people's needs, your heart begins to beat to that sad, slow song. It thickens. It tires. It starts to miss a beat, not out of rebellion but out of a profound sorrow. A forgetting of its own purpose. It is meant for joy, for passion, for the quickening of love or fear or excitement. Not for the steady monotonous thud of endurance. So it objects. It sends a pain so profound, so all-encompassing that you cannot mistake it for heartburn or a pulled muscle. It is a fist inside your chest squeezing the very life out of you. And in that moment, as the world goes gray at the edges, as you struggle to pull air into lungs that have been breathing shallowly for years, you understand. This is not a medical event. This is an eviction notice. Your body is serving you papers. It is saying you can no longer live here under these conditions. The foundation is cracking. The walls are crumbling. You have neglected this house, this temple of your spirit, and it is becoming uninhabitable. The silent heart attack is the final truth teller. It speaks when your voice has failed. It is the scream your throat could not form. It is the collapse you have been holding at bay with sheer willpower. And in its wake comes a clarity that is almost cruel. You see your life for what it is. The rich food you cooked to nourish others was clogging your own arteries. The late nights waiting up for someone who did not think to call were starving your heart of rest. The anger you swallowed, the tears you refused to shed, the love you gave that was never returned. This was the plaque. This was what was blocking the flow. You were dying of emotional malnutrition. You were starving in a house full of food. The doctor gives you pills. He talks of diet and exercise. He gives you a new ledger to track your numbers. Your cholesterol, your blood pressure, your weight. But the real numbers are different. They are the number of times you have said yes when you meant no. The number of dreams you deferred. The number of sunsets you missed because you were cleaning a kitchen. The number of times you have felt truly seen in the last decade. That number might be 0. The body's score is absolute. It does not care about social graces. It does not understand martyrdom. It only knows stress and relief. It only knows joy and sorrow. It translates every emotional transaction into a chemical one. And you have been trading in toxins. You have been poisoning the well and then drinking from it every day. The fatigue you feel is not laziness. It is the exhaustion of a system fighting a war on 2 fronts. A war against the slow decay of inattention and a war against the constant barrage of small griefs. Your shoulders ache from the invisible weight of other people's expectations. Your back hurts from bending to fit into a space that was never made for you. Your joints are stiff from lack of movement from a life that became smaller and smaller, a tighter and tighter circle until you were pacing in a cage of your own making. The silent heart attack is the cage breaking. It is a violent, merciful rupture. It stops the march. It forces you to lie down. It forces you to be still. And in that stillness you can finally hear the truth your body has been singing all along. It is a love song to yourself. A desperate pleading song. It says, I matter. This vessel matters. This one precious life matters. You have been treating it like a rented room, like a motel on a long journey. You have not tended the garden. You have not fixed the leaks. You have let the paint peel and the floors go unswept. You have been waiting for someone else to come and make it a home. No one is coming. The heart attack is the foreclosure. It is the end of waiting. It is the moment you realize you are the only tenant and the only landlord. The repairs are yours to make. The renovation must be radical. You must tear out the old plumbing, the pipes that carried bitterness. You must install new windows that look out onto a world you choose. You must repaint the walls with the color of your own desires. The body keeps the score. And the score was failing. But it is also keeping the new score. The first day you walk for no reason but to feel the sun on your face. The first meal you eat because it delights your tongue, not because it fulfills an obligation. The first full night of sleep where you do not dream of drowning. These are points on the new ledger. Every time you choose rest over productivity, every time you choose silence that is peaceful over silence that is oppressive, every time you listen to the small ache and stop instead of pushing through, you are settling the debt. You are healing the ledger. Your body becomes your most honest friend. It tells you immediately when you are betraying yourself again. A clench in the jaw when you are on the phone with someone who drains you. A heaviness in the chest when you consider going back to the old ways. It is the wisdom you were born with before you learned to ignore it. The silent heart attack was not an end. It was a beginning. It was your body forcing a meeting with your soul. The two had not spoken in years. They had a terrible, beautiful reconciliation there in the sterile light of the hospital room. The soul said, I am tired of being ignored. The body said, I cannot carry this pain for you any longer. And together they made a pact. A treaty of self-preservation. The terms were simple. No more poison. No more pretending. No more living a life that is a slow death. The heart will beat its new rhythm. It might be slower. It might be quieter. But it will beat for you. For your joy. For your peace. For the rest of the time you have left. It will beat for the ocean it has never seen. It will beat for the mornings of quiet solitude. It will beat for the truth finally spoken. It will beat a path out of the wilderness of neglect. You only get one body. One heart. It has been keeping score all along. It is time to start earning points for yourself. It is not the lock on the door or the walls around you. It is not the schedule pinned to the fridge or the obligations that fill the calendar. The prison is far more clever than that. It does not look like confinement. It looks like a gift. It looks like your place. It is the chair in the corner that is always yours. The familiar cushion molded to the shape of your surrender. You were not forced into it. You were invited. You were expected. And over time you become grateful for it. You mistake its familiarity for comfort. You mistake its permanence for security. You build your entire world view from that single vantage point. You see only what it allows you to see. A slice of window, a patch of wall, the same scene day after day. And you tell yourself this is the whole world. This is your portion. This is what you have earned. This is what you deserve. The chair becomes your throne of resignation. You rule a kingdom of small things from it. The smooth grain of the table you wipe. The progress of the sunlight across the floor you mop. The careful stitching in the garment you mend. Your sovereignty is limited to the tasks within your reach. Your edicts are silent ones about laundry, about dust, about the proper way to store the good silver. You are the queen of this small square of space. And a queen does not abandon her throne. So you stay. You are conditioned by the softest hands. By the gentlest voices. By the people who love you in the way they know how. They are not wardens. They are fellow inmates who believe this is the only room that exists. Your mother sat in a chair like this. Your grandmother too. You saw them claim their territory in the corner of the kitchen by the pantry or in the den by the sewing machine. They seemed at peace. They seemed to own their quiet domain. You learned that a woman's power is often seated. It is a patient power. A watching power. You learned that to rise from that chair without cause is to create disruption. To ask for a different chair is to be ungrateful for the one you have. You are conditioned by your own love. You believe that to be good is to be still. To be kind is to be constant. To be loving is to be present in that one spot, always available, always waiting. The chair is where they find you. It is where you are needed. To leave it is to become lost to them. To become unavailable. You might miss a moment they need you. A scraped knee. A hurt feeling. A hungry husband. So you stay. You become an installation in the museum of their lives. A beloved piece of furniture. Functional. Reliable. Part of the background. And you polish that role until it shines. You make your confinement a craft. You become an artist of the small sphere. Your pies are perfect. Your floors gleam. Your kindness is legendary. All from the chair. All within the radius of your chain, which is not iron but thought. Which is not locked but gently held in place by the expectations you have inhaled since girlhood. The prison is decorated with photos of your children, with souvenirs from family vacations, with the china you inherited. It looks like a home. It smells like one. It has warmth and routine and the soundtrack of a family living. It is the most beautiful prison ever built. And you are its most devoted caretaker. You water the plants that sit on its windowsill. You sweep its floors. You maintain its illusion of freedom every day. Because to stop would be to see the walls. To see the bars on the window you look through. The window itself is a trick. It shows you a world you are not part of. You watch the seasons change from your chair. You see the neighbors come and go. You see life happening in bursts of color and movement just beyond the glass. And you feel a pang, not of envy but of a strange disconnected longing. As if you were watching a play on a stage. You are the audience, not the actor. Your role is to observe, to appreciate, to keep the home fires burning for the actors when they return from their performances in the world. Your chair is the seat of the critic, the supporter, the witness. It is not a seat for a participant. The conditioning is so complete that when a different chair is offered you do not know how to sit in it. At a restaurant you feel exposed at the head of the table. You prefer the side, the wall at your back. In a waiting room you choose the seat nearest the corner, not the center. Your body has learned the geography of the periphery. It seeks the edges, the corners, the spaces meant for waiting, not for engaging. You have internalized the prison. You carry it within you. Its blueprint is etched on your soul. You see a beautiful view and your first thought is not to step into it but to find a quiet bench at the edge to observe it from. To frame it. To contain it. To experience it from a safe seated distance. The final act of conditioning is to make you believe the chair is your choice. That you prefer it. That the chaos of the center, the vulnerability of the main stage is not for you. You are a private person. You are humble. You do not need to be seen. You sanctify your own obscurity. You call it grace. You call it dignity. But it is fear. It is the fear that if you rise from that chair you will not know where to go. That you will stumble. That you will be laughed at. That you will find no other seat awaits you. That the world has no place for a woman who has forgotten how to stand in the middle of a room. So you sit. You grow roots into the floorboards. Your joints stiffen in that one position. Your view never changes. The prison is perfected not by locks but by the slow fossilization of your own spirit. You become a fixture, and then one day a crack appears. It is not a dramatic quake. It is a hairline fracture in the routine. Perhaps you drop a plate and instead of irritation you feel a ridiculous surge of freedom at the sound of it shattering. Perhaps you look at the chair and for a fleeting second you do not see comfort. You see a trap, a well-worn trap baited with love and duty. The conditioning flickers. In that moment you see the chair for what it is. A placeholder, a designated spot for a person they imagine you to be. The person who waits, who serves, who observes, who does not have a narrative of her own, only a supporting role in theirs. You see that you have been worshipping at the altar of your own limitation. You have been kneeling before the throne of your smallness. And you feel not anger but a devastating grief. For all the years you called this prison a palace. For all the times you polished the bars and called it homemaking. The conditioning begins to unravel not with a shout but with a slow quiet whisper from a part of you that never agreed to sit down. A wild untamed girl who still lives in your marrow, who remembers how to run. She does not understand chairs. She understands horizons. She understands the feel of grass under bare feet. She is the one who looks at the window and does not see a view. She sees an exit. The deconditioning is the painful process of teaching your body a new geography. It is standing up from the chair and feeling the vertigo of the open space around you. It is walking away from the wall and into the center of the room where the light is brightest and you are most visible. It is terrifying. Every fiber of your being conditioned over a lifetime screams to return to the corner, to the safety of the known. To make yourself small and useful again. But you keep walking. You walk out of the room. You walk out of the house. You walk into a world that does not have a chair waiting for you. A world where you must bring your own seat or learn to stand. And you realize the prison was never the house. It was the belief that you belonged in that one chair. That there was no other seat for you at the feast of life. That you were meant to serve the feast, not partake in it. The world is full of chairs. In sun-dappled parks. In quiet libraries. On beaches facing vast oceans. They are empty. They are waiting, not for you to serve from them, but for you to sit in them and simply be. To look out at a view that is not a framed snapshot but a panorama you are inside of. The first time you sit in a chair that faces the open sky you will feel unmoored. You will feel exposed. You will miss the wall at your back, but then you will feel the sun on your face from a new angle. You will see a bird fly across the whole span of your vision, not just a sliver. You will realize you are not in a corner anymore. You are in the world. And the chair beneath you is not a throne of resignation. It is a simple gift. A place to rest, not a place to hide. The conditioning falls away like an old skin. It hurts. It leaves you tender. But the air on your new skin is so sweet. You are no longer a fixture. You are a woman, moving through space, choosing your seat moment by moment. And sometimes choosing no seat at all. Sometimes choosing to stand in the very center of the room just to feel what it is like to be there. To take up space. To be the view. Rage is a fire. It burns bright and hot and it consumes everything in its path. It leaves behind ashes and scars in a landscape everyone can point to and say, look at the destruction. Look at what she did. Rage makes you the villain in someone else's story. It gives them the reason, the excuse, the proof they need that you were the problem all along. They can point to the slammed door, the shattered plate, the screamed curse and say, see. She is unstable. She is unhinged. We could not reason with her. Your fire becomes their alibi. They are absolved. Your anger paints you as the chaotic one while their quiet daily neglect, their soft violence of apathy is forgotten. It becomes background noise, so you learn not to give them the fire. You let the kindling pile up inside you for years, for decades. The dry tinder of 1,000 disappointments. The perfect fuel for a blaze that could burn a life to the ground. And you sit in the center of it all with a single match. You hold that match for so long your fingers grow numb. The temptation to strike it, to watch it all go up in a glorious cathartic roar, is a song that sings to you in the dead of night. But you do not strike it. Because you have finally learned that fire is not the only way to clear a field. There is another way, a slower way, a way that does not burn but instead reclaims. It is the way of the root breaking through stone, the way of water wearing away rock. It is reverence. Reverence is not for them. It is not a gift you offer to the ones who hurt you. It is a sacred act you perform for the life you have left. The one they have not yet managed to trample. Walking away is that act. It is a pilgrimage you make toward your own future. Every step is a prayer. Every mile you put between you and that old pain is a hymn. You are not running away. You are walking with intention toward a sanctuary called yourself. The power is in the calm. The terrifying unshakable calm. When you look at the person who has shared your bed, your table, your name, and you feel nothing but a vast quiet ocean where the storm used to be. That calm is your power. It is the final unassailable truth. It says, I am no longer a participant in this. I am removing myself from the equation. Your drama, your needs, your expectations are now planets I have chosen to no longer orbit. I have left your gravity. The silence of your departure is louder than any scream. A scream begs for a reaction. A scream is still engagement. It says, hear me, see me. Your pain is still tied to them. But a calm, quiet exit. That is a universe of indifference. It says, you are no longer the architect of my suffering. You are a fact I am leaving behind. Like the weather, like a town I passed through. It is the ultimate reverence for your own time. You are saying, this breath, this hour, this remaining sunset is too precious to spend in your company. I am choosing to spend it on myself. There is no insult more profound than being peacefully forgotten, than being calmly set aside like a book that has been finished. They know how to fight a fire. They have buckets of excuses, buckets of blame, buckets of gaslighting ready to throw on it. But they do not know how to fight a placid lake. They do not know how to grapple with a woman who looks at them with pity, not anger. Who says, I wish you well, but I will not be staying to see it. Your dignity becomes an armor they cannot pierce. Your restraint becomes a mirror that shows them their own smallness. You are not giving them a performance they can critique. You are giving them an absence they cannot fill. Walking away is an act of creation. You are not destroying a marriage, you are building a life. You are not tearing down a house, you are laying a new foundation somewhere else. Brick by quiet brick, the reverence is in the details. In the first cup of coffee you drink in silence and truly taste. In the bed you make for one that stays made all day. In the errand you run with no one to report to. In the simple glorious fact of an empty calendar square that belongs only to you. You are consecrating your own existence. Making it holy again. You are the priestess of your own salvation. And the ritual is the walking. The putting one foot in front of the other away from the tomb of what was and toward the uncertain blessed maybe of what could be. They will call it selfish. They will call it cruel. They will say you gave up. Let them. Their vocabulary is limited to the dictionary of dysfunction. They have no words for a love that starts with the self. For a fidelity to one's own soul. Your walking away is the most loyal thing you have ever done. You are finally being loyal to the girl you were, to the woman you are, to the elder you will become. You are keeping a promise to yourself that you did not even know you had made. The promise to survive, not just in body but in spirit. To not let the light go out. The reverence is in the refusal to let them have the last of you. You are taking it with you. Your hope, your curiosity, your capacity for joy. You are wrapping them in the quiet cloth of your departure and taking them to safety. You are evacuating your own soul from a war zone. And you do it not with a siren but with a whisper. So they hardly notice you are gone until the air changes. Until the house settles differently. Until the mundane things you did become gaping holes in their day. Your absence will become a presence. A ghost of comfort they took for granted. But you are not a ghost. You are more alive than you have been in years. You are elsewhere, building an altar to your own peace. Lighting a candle for your own dreams. The walking away is the prayer. The new life is the amen. There is no revenge because revenge is a debt you collect. You are forgiving the debt. You are writing it off. A terrible loss on the ledger of your heart. You are closing the account. You are free, not because they paid but because you stopped asking them to. Your freedom is not contingent on their remorse. It is complete without it. It is built on the solid ground of your own decision. So you walk. You do not look back. Not because you are strong but because what is behind you is no longer a home. It is a museum of a life you have outgrown. You do not need to burn it down. You can simply let the dust collect on the exhibits. Let it become a quiet monument to what you survived. Your walking away is the final exhibit. The one that explains all the others. It says she was here. And then she was not. And her absence is the most eloquent thing she ever said. It speaks of a value they could not see. A worth they could not measure. It says I am more than this. And I am going to go prove it to the only person who needs the proof. Me. You walk toward the horizon not with the frantic energy of escape but with the steady pace of a seeker. You are going to see what you are made of when you are not defined by what you do for others. You are going to meet the stranger who has been living inside you all this time. The one with your face, your memories, but a different light in her eyes. You walk with reverence because you are carrying something precious. Your own future. It is fragile. It is new. It must be handled with care. With quiet. With a determined peace. Every step is a caress. A promise. A laying on of hands to bless the road ahead. You are not leaving. You are arriving. For the first time in a very long time you are arriving at yourself. And that is a homecoming so sacred no rage, no fire, no dramatic goodbye could ever do it justice. It deserves the silence. It deserves the calm. It deserves the steady, gentle, relentless walking away. The ocean is a great indifference. That is its first lesson. It does not care about your soufflés. It does not care if your pie crust was flaky or if the roast was done to perfection. It does not know your mother-in-law's name. It has never heard of Sunday dinner. The waves come in and they go out in a rhythm that has nothing to do with you. They have been doing this before you were born and they will continue long after you are gone. This is not an insult. It is a liberation. To stand before something so vast and so powerful and to be met with a perfect serene disregard, it is the balm for a soul that has been microscopically examined and constantly found wanting. The ocean does not find you wanting. It does not find you at all. You are a speck on its shore. A temporary arrangement of atoms. And in that cosmic anonymity you find your first taste of pure peace. You are relieved of the terrible burden of being important. Of mattering in the wrong ways to the wrong people. Here you do not matter at all. And it feels like heaven. The roar you hear is not a demand. It is a white noise that washes the mind clean. It drowns out the echoes. The echo of a critical voice from the hallway. The echo of your own hesitant footsteps on a quiet kitchen floor at dawn. The echo of a question you asked that was met with silence. The ocean sound is a bigger silence. It fills the auditory canals of your soul. It tells the old echoes to hush. There is a bigger sound now. A more ancient one. You can give your listening to it. You can let it pull the threads of anxiety from your mind one by one with its rhythmic tug. You sit on a bench or on the sand and you let the sound work on you like a medicine. It has no opinion on your past. It offers no advice for your future. It simply says here I am. And here you are. And that is enough for now. The horizon is a line that promises nothing and everything. It is not a boundary. It is an invitation. For 38 years your horizons were walls. The kitchen wall with the clock. The living room wall with the family photos. The wall of your husband's back as he slept. They were limits. They defined the edges of your world. This horizon is different. It is a seam between two infinities. Sky and water. It teaches you about possibility. Not the frantic grasping possibility of a new recipe or a new way to organize the linen closet. But a slow quiet possibility. The possibility that there is more. More space. More air. More time. That your life is not a closed system. That it can still open like a flower even now. The horizon never comes closer. You can never reach it. And that is the point. It is not a goal to be achieved. It is a direction to face. You learn to orient yourself toward the open space. You learn that your chair, your real chair, should always face a horizon of some kind. A window with a view of trees. A path leading into a park. Something that reminds you that the world continues beyond your immediate sight. That you are part of something that does not end at the property line. The sand shifts beneath your feet. It is not solid ground. You must learn a new way to stand. A slight give. A flexibility in the ankles. This too is a lesson. The ground you knew, the linoleum, the hardwood, the worn kitchen rug that was solid and predictable is gone. You are on unstable territory. And it is thrilling. Every step is a small negotiation. You sink a little, you find your balance, you move forward. The path is not clear. Your footprints fill with water behind you. The evidence of your passage is erased. This is how it should be now. You are not building a monument. You are having an experience. The transience of it is the gift. You are not planting a garden you will be forced to tend for decades. You are feeling cool wet sand between your toes for an afternoon. It is for now, it is for you, and then it is gone. The salt air is an exfoliant for the spirit. It scrubs away the stale smells of a house closed in on itself. The smell of furniture polish and simmering guilt and forgotten dreams. The salt is sharp and clean. It stings the nostrils and wakes up parts of your brain that had gone dormant. Parts that knew adventure. Parts that remembered the scent of rain on pavement when you were a girl and anything was possible. The air here is so heavy with life it is like breathing in time itself. Ancient time. Prehistoric time. Before mortgages and car payments and dinner menus. It is the air of beginnings. You breathe it in and you feel your own timeline expand. You are not just a woman who made Sunday dinner. You are a creature on a planet wrapped in water. You are ancient and brand new all at once. You watch the gulls. They are selfish creatures. They squawk and fight and take what they want. They have no manners. They do not share. They do not apologize. There is a vicious purity to it. You do not want to be a gull. But you admire their utter lack of apology for existing. They belong here. They claim the air, the pier, the discarded scrap with a brazen entitlement you have never allowed yourself. They teach you about ownership. Not of things but of space. Of your own presence. You have a right to be here on this beach. You do not have to earn it through service. Your ticket, your one-way ticket, bought it for you. You can sit and exist as boldly as any gull. You can take up your square of sand and own it. People pass by. They are wrapped in their own worlds. A couple holding hands. A man jogging. A child chasing bubbles. They do not look at you. You are not the mother, the wife, the hostess. You are not a source of anything for them. You are a woman on a bench. You are part of the scenery. It is a delightful anonymity. You have spent a lifetime being seen for what you provide. Now you are invisible in the best way. You can observe. You can wonder about their stories. You are free from the pressure of being the story yourself. Your narrative is your own private thing. It unspools, quietly in your head with no need to perform it for an audience. You are both the author and the sole reader. It is a deeply private, satisfying communion. The ocean does not give you answers. It dissolves questions. The big aching questions that have pounded in your head like a headache. Did he ever love me? Was it all a waste? What is my purpose now? The waves take these questions and they break them apart into syllables and then into sounds and then into meaningless noise. The questions are too small for this place. They are landlocked concerns. The ocean deals in bigger currencies. Tide, moon, storm, survival in a salt world. Your heartbreak is real, but it is a freshwater creek meeting the sea. It is absorbed. It loses its shape. Its bitter taste is diluted into the vast saline truth that everything eventually merges. Everything is eventually smoothed by this relentless motion. You learn the rhythm of your own breathing again. You match it to the waves. In and out. The simple miracle of inhalation. You had been breathing shallowly for years. Holding your breath without knowing it. Waiting for the next demand, the next criticism, the next quiet disappointment. Here you breathe deeply because the air demands it. It is too rich not to. Your lungs expand. Your shoulders drop. You remember you have a body that is not just a tool for labor. It is a vessel for feeling the sun and the spray and the cool breeze. It is a sensor for beauty. You feed it beauty here. Simple, uncomplicated beauty. The blue-green gradient of the water. The sharp white of the breaking wave. The endless silver shimmer of the sun on the surface. You feed your eyes until they are full. You have been starved of meaningless beauty. Beauty that served no purpose but to be beautiful. It nourishes a part of you that scripture and duty never could. Time becomes tidal. It expands and contracts. An hour can feel like a minute as you watch the light change on the water. A minute can feel deep and wide as you follow a single wave from its birth to its crash on the shore. The punishing clock of the kitchen is gone. The clock that said 30 minutes till the roast is done, 10 minutes till they arrive, 5 minutes to make the gravy. That clock ruled you. Here time is a sensation, not a measurement. You have time. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where you are. The sun will set when it sets. The tide will turn according to a pull you cannot see. You are in sync with a slower older clock. Your pulse slows to meet it. You left a world of porcelain, fine china, delicate things that could chip and break. A world where you yourself were the most delicate thing expected not to break. Here everything is stone and water and tough resilient shells. Things are worn smooth. They are hardened by the elements. There is nothing fragile about this place. It teaches you resilience not through toughness but through adaptability. The reed that bends, the sand that shifts, the pier post that is crusted with barnacles but stands. You are being weathered. The sharp edges of your grief are being smoothed. The brittle places in your spirit are being softened by salt and wind. You are becoming part of the landscape. Not a visitor but a feature. A woman who comes to the bench every evening. You belong to the ritual now. You have a place in the rhythm. And when you rise from the bench when the light fades and the air grows cool you turn your back on the ocean. You walk toward the little cottage, the rented room, the temporary bed. And you carry the indifference with you. You carry the roar in your inner ear. You carry the horizon in the set of your shoulders. You have been to a church that asked nothing of you but your presence. And you gave it. You gave yourself to the nothingness and it gave you back a self you had forgotten. A self that is not defined by what she cooks but by what she notices. Not by who she serves but by how deeply she can be moved by the color of the evening sky on water. The ocean does not care about your Sunday dinners. And that is the greatest gift you have ever been given. It has set you free from caring about them too. You are no longer a chef. You are a witness. And the world is your feast.